Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, the Star Trek podcast.
Ow, ow!
My name is Caitlin, and joining me today are...
Jake.
Chris.
And Ames.
And we are here today to discuss... we're shaking it up a little bit. We're going to talk about 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine. No, wait, that's the same as every week.
Is it, though?
I mean, most weeks. Well, lately. Anyway, we're here to talk about 2 episodes of Deep Space Mimes. That's horrifying.
I'd watch it.
I feel like Odo would be a really good mime.
Yeah, Renee Auberjonois has mime training, we learned.
Holy shit, well see, I was right. Or maybe
Perfect.
I just remembered that subconsciously, whatever. Anyway, yes, 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine, The Muse, and For the Cause. Oh shit, I completely forgot. This is episode 191?
Oh no!
So
Oh,
sorry,
yes.
191. It's exciting. What are we going to do special for 200?
I'd say maybe do some Deep Space Nine episodes.
Ooh, no, we should do a 200th episode spectacular.
Where we all quit.
What does that entail?
I don't know. It just sounds like something we should do.
Guest
think
stars?
There would at least need to be sparklers or something.
Oh, yeah, surprise guests.
What?
That's not a bad idea.
We'll just have people join throughout the show.
We could kidnap Avery Brooks and force him to be on.
Wow. It sounds like it'd be really hard to coordinate on the stage management side of things.
Nope,
fucking
nope.
Zoom
Well,
call.
that's why it's a spectacular, okay? Because it'll be spectacular.
It'll be a spectacular failure. That's why. All right, moving swiftly forward. Be on the lookout for our 200th episode spectacular.
Ooh, we'll do a call-in show. We'll do a call-in
featuring
show.
Avery Brooks.
We'll have people call in.
See, here's the thing, though. Avery Brooks should come be on our show.
1-800-SSHB podcast.
It's much too long.
Yes.
Close enough.
Friends of mine, well, a friend of mine and a person I don't know, they have a podcast, and their call-in number is like, I don't know what it is, like 866 Soy Boys, which always makes me laugh.
Nice.
Anyway, so, in The Muse, there's a definite A plot and a definite B plot. The title kind of makes you think the A plot is one thing, but I sort of would argue it's the other. But we can decide later. So, in The Muse, I don't even really know where she is, but Odo happens upon a crying Lwaxana who has run away from her husband, Ziyal, because she is very pregnant with their son. In Ziyal's culture, the Tavnians, they...
Giant jerks.
Yeah, they believe that girl babies need to be raised by women's, and boy babies need to be raised by the men's, so they don't have any weird femininities rubbed off on their masculinities. So she runs away and is like, fuck that guy. And she's like, I really need a friend, Odo. And Odo's like, oh, I'm real busy.
Try Quark.
So she goes to Quark's and bums everybody out before they go for holosuites. And Odo's like, oh, actually, maybe I do have some time. Actually, there's like a really cute scene where they're like playing hide and seek where Odo is doing his changeling shit and Lwaxana is like, haha, what fun.
That is cool.
So then Ziyal shows up and he's like, give me back my baby. And Odo's like, well, technically the male child belongs to the husband of the pregnant woman. Have you heard in your own culture that that's the case? And Ziyal's like, yeah. And Odo's like, Lwaxana, we could totes just get married. Then the baby's mine and I don't really want it. So like, you'll be free to go. And Lwaxana's, like, oh, great idea. And then Odo's like, but Ziyal really wants us to do this the Tavnian way. And Lwaxana's like, oh, no, you'll have to prove to my husband that you really love me. And and that you're worthy of me. And Odo's kind of like, well, I can count on your vote. And she's like, no, you don't understand. Ziyal has to buy it too. And Odo's like, well, fuck.
Weirdest fucking wedding rules I've ever heard.
Well, and also they weren't naked, I noticed. Which,
I know. We'll get into this.
Well, that's a beta
God.
wedding.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she's a
She's
beta.
a betazoid.
Well, listen,
Different
anyway.
traditions.
But
Yeah,
this is a
that's true.
Tavnian wedding.
Well, anyway.
Why? We'll get into this.
But anyway, they do the wedding, and Odo gives this beautiful speech about how he always felt alone, and then Lwaxana came, and that the first time he met her was the day he stopped being alone, or something. And it was really beautiful, and I was like a little bit teary-eyed, because God, do I love Odo. But, the whole point was that it would be a sham, and so at the end of the episode-ish, Lwaxana's like, look, Odo, this is great and you're really sweet and all, but I'm gonna go home to Betazoid now. Betazoid? Which is the
Beta
planet? Beta Z. I'm
Beta
going
Z is
home
the
to
planet.
I'm gonna catch the next train to Beta Z because, like, you don't love me, you just like me to be here, and I do love you, and if you never loved me, I'll resent you, so I'm out. And Odo has a really sad face, and then it's just...
That's
I
just
think
his face.
She kissed him goodbye, though, right? He looked really... He had a cute little smile that I really loved. Anyway, that's enough about that. It was really nice. The other half is fucking creepy as fuck. This weird-looking bitch who reminded me of the Borg Queen initially in her looks. Maybe it was the five head and the really pale skin. But Onaya shows up, and she's like, hey, Jake, I see you're writing a book there, and I really like artists. You want to come hang out at my place? And he's like, totally. And in order to do so, he blows off his nice, happy family trip that was planned with Sisko and Cassidy. Sisko's like, but I only get leave like once every 5 years. And Jake's like, yeah, I got an old broad to bang, maybe. I don't know. So, sorry. So Jake goes to hang out with Anaya. And we get like too many scenes because I think they really were trying to make this the main plot, but they didn't have enough. Basically, he goes over and she's like, hey, I have Edgar Allan Poe's quill pen. It wasn't Edgar Allan Poe, but it was someone as relevant to them as Edgar Allan Poe is to us, probably more. Here, have this pen and look, I have real paper.
What?
And she starts...
What is this stuff?
Yeah, it was really nice looking paper.
It was like vellum.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I literally was like, vellum. Anyway, she starts like giving him a really weird head massage, and she goes all like Phantom of the Opera, and she's like, write for me. And turns out, what she's doing is destroying his brain. We know this is definitely true because he gets a couple of nosebleeds.
The
whilst
universal
writing.
sign of brain problems.
Yep. Yeah, he goes to the hospital. She breaks him out. She rubs his head some more. She's scooping his brain energy into her tits, which is really awkward. And finally, like, Sisko shows up, Ben, and he's like, bitch, get away from my son. And she's like, yeah, I mean, he's gonna die, but this novel's gonna be great. And Sisko's like, hell no, and tries to shoot her, and she's like, LOL, bye, and just like fades out and floats back into space. Jake is eventually okay, but the great thing at the end is this great reveal is that this is Anselm. This is the novel that would be Anselm. And that's basically it. Creepy
Which
ass.
only Sisko knows about from the Visitor, because little Jake wouldn't have any idea.
Yeah.
But it does make me wonder who saved him from Onoya in that timeline.
They just never met in that timeline. He would have
But
left the station by then.
That's
I thought he only left the station much later.
Well, so I just imagine events changed enough that she probably just never showed up.
But Anselm's only good because of her influence.
No, I think that all ties back to what Ben was saying, is that no, the words were in you. She just coaxed them out.
Anselm would have been good regardless. She's just doing it, she's just coaxing it out of him as he's, 15 years? No, he's 17
He's 18, I think. I think he's actually 18. But
yeah, which makes it a little less creepy, but still incredibly creepy.
only a little less.
So creepy.
And again, just the if she was just inhaling his essence or anything, but the fact that she's just
Spread it on a
scooping
sandwich.
double-handed right into her boobs, I'm like, what is happening here?
It's really a
She's not
shame.
really a woman, though. She's like an
Energy.
entity, right? So, it's probably she appears in whatever form
Is sexiest to the
sexiest to her mark. In which case, she should have been appearing as Jennifer Sisko.
Yikes.
Ew.
Woof.
Truth.
I was going to say a
Woof.
Bajoran, but...
Listen, she appeared as an older woman, which is absolutely what Jake is into, as Chris pointed out while we were watching, so I'd say she got it. It's fine.
Yeah,
But-
it's a Cabo girl.
Am I correct that her hair changed color as she was sucking his life essence off?
Yeah, I did read, because I wouldn't have noticed from this episode that apparently in the early scenes when she's supposed to be kind of sickly because she
she's
hasn't
blonde,
had the
right?
brains. I don't know if she's blonde, but she's definitely wearing much lighter clothes, has her makeup done much lighter, wearing a lighter dress, and then as she gets healthier, everything gets more robust and saturated or what have you. So I'm guessing, there were some color changes on her to indicate, oh look, she's healthier now because she's
I think they should have
made.
I think they should have been a little less subtle with that, maybe then, because I didn't even pick up on that aspect of it.
Yeah,
I
I
was
missed
actually-
that too.
Like if they did a Jameson with her or something.
Yeah, I was actually shocked this episode because I saw that it was nominated for an Emmy in costume design. Maybe for her costume, because I didn't think any of the other costumes were any fucking good this episode. Like, there was a dress Lwaxana wore that looked like the homeliest thing she's ever owned in her life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
that might have been
her jammies,
the wedding garb just looked like they were covered in towels.
Yeah, weird sack
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. It was like they just got wrapped in shitty gauze or something.
Yeah,
It
I
was
didn't
not
like
good.
any of the wedding attire.
Casting note question, maybe Ames knows.
I do know.
But was Lwaxana's husband, was that Kang?
It was, yeah, that was Michael and Sarah.
Yeah, I was going to say, that it was the voice that really gave him away.
Yeah, I was like, who is that? And I looked him up, and I was like, oh, okay. And actually, I looked at his background a bit more, and I had missed this previously. Like, I know last time we talked about him, I talked about stuff he'd done. He was also a villain in the 70s Buck Rogers at one point.
Who was it?
Ooh,
Do you remember?
fancy.
He was like the right-hand man to the evil empress.
Oh, yeah. She's hot. She
Yeah, no, he's got a list of credits as long as your arm.
Mm.
A lot of voice acting, too.
Oh,
Which,
nice.
yeah, I mean, it's a
He's
great
got a good
voice. So,
yeah, he's got a great voice.
Yeah, he's
for
got
it.
that really deep, distinctive voice.
feel like he has a look to him that he could play Humphrey Bogart in a biopic.
Mm.
Or could have in the 90s. I don't know now.
He's dead now.
Oh. Definitely not now, then.
No.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. If it's a present day Humphrey Bogart, maybe.
Oh,
What
dear
the
God.
fuck?
Jesus
Ouch.
fucking Christ.
But also,
Yikes.
other casting note, I believe this is the final on-screen appearance of Majel Barrett.
It is, which made me very sad.
Oh.
Because, like, I read up on this episode. Like, this is on IMDb the second worst Deep Space Nine episode by rating.
What?
Which is surprising to me, because I expected it to be, like, as garbage as some of the other garbage we've watched, like fucking
It's just
Fascination
a
or what have you.
fucking anti-Lwaxana hate brigade down
Yeah,
here.
Yeah.
because I watched this, like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, the wedding stuff we'll get into. Makes no fucking sense. But all the scenes between her and Odo are actually super sweet.
Yeah,
They are
like,
really sweet.
I really like the other plot is just,
The Muse
Yeah.
plot.
and definitely would, like, drag the average rating of the episode down, but it doesn't make it the second worst DS9 ever. That's
Is the
ludicrous.
worst Prophet and Lace?
No, but that's close. I think that's the third.
What is the worst? Out of
We haven't
curiosity?
seen it. We haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Really? So that means that fucking Rumple Foreskin isn't the worst, huh?
That one's higher than I would ever put it, because I think
Oh,
that one's fucking
Jesus.
trash.
I'm surprised that there's something worse than fucking old Julian and his tennis balls.
Oh yeah, that one too. God, old
But
long
yeah.
balls, Julian.
No, I looked at this episode. Nice. It reminds me a lot of The Forsaken, where it's a really, really nice Lwaxana story, and some great acting out of Majel Barrett. And then the rest of the episode, you're like, this is dumb. I don't like this.
Which
Like,
one was that?
That was the one with her in an elevator and Pup.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, like, her parts are great.
Yeah.
The rest is shite house.
Yeah,
Hmm.
dumb. Fucking Pup.
I feel like I wouldn't have hated the Muse part so much if it wasn't just... It's, like, super repetitive.
Yeah.
It's like in whatever the 5th Harry Potter book is, where we see, like, 10 scenes of transparently evil woman making him write, "I will not tell lies," and having it, like,
yeah.
carved in his hand. It's like, okay, we got it the first 3 times. You don't need to keep showing this to us.
I have a great quote from one of the writers. Let me find it in my book. Yeah, this is from Ronald Moore. Ronald Moore, whom I love. He does such great work, but all the writers phoned this episode in. He says, "The notion of this exotic, beautiful older woman who comes to you and gets excited by watching you write is like the most ridiculous idea. Only a writer would come up with that. Think of it. You're sitting
Yeah.
there writing away and she's just entranced. We watched the scene in the dailies and we thought, are we insane? What are we doing? How did we get here?"
And I gotta
Yeah.
say, speaking as someone who's dabbled in writing, the last thing I want when I'm writing is someone looking over my shoulder mumbling at me the whole time.
Rubbing your head.
Well, I
Yeah.
also think it goes back to that whole idea of the muse. That,
Yeah.
writers like to think that there's some supernatural force propelling them.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, actually, this was a figure that I read. It bears a lot of resemblance to this Irish folklore figure, the Lianan She, who is basically, it's a usually a pretty woman-shaped thing, who will take a human lover, and then that human lover will live a brief but very inspired life and die super young.
Huh. See, now, if the whole plot had involved, like, Miles figuring it out and saving it the day because it's part of his culture, that would have been great.
Yeah, now, like, I don't know. I think the idea that there is some kind of alien force that that feeds on creative energy and has helped artists throughout history is kind of a cool idea. It's kind of like an original series idea, right? You know?
Yeah, I thought that at one point. It's like, this feels really TOS.
Well, it's because it's like it's like the spirit of Jack the Ripper floating through the cosmos and causing
right. Oh,
shit.
yeah,
It's like the same
exactly.
idea.
That's true.
They live in the same pantheon.
Only she escapes and just floats away into the ether, while Jack the Ripper we somehow contained and destroyed.
Well, that's because serial killers all secretly want to be caught.
Ooh.
Well, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Well, I think what happened, I just rewatched that one not long ago. He jumped into the Enterprise computer, but then they, had it run a program
They
ran their antivirus software.
Yeah, and then he had to jump back into a body, and that body died, and he couldn't jump anywhere else or something. That does beg the question.
Would be like Norton Antivirus 3000 by then.
Yeah. So, are they the same species, maybe? Because he fed on fear. This thing feeds on creativity.
Oh, maybe.
What was the thing in the TAS Kang episode?
What?
Wasn't there some kind of weird energy that they had to...
The TOS episode?
Oh, yeah, it was a T...
Day of the Dove?
the TAS episode was different. No, it was a T... You're right, it was the TOS episode where they all
Day
had to laugh.
Day of the Dove, the anger
They had to
monster.
laugh the
that one
evil
fed
spirit
off
away.
That one fed off of their
bad feelings, right?
Yeah, but that was a little different.
That was the ooze from Ghostbusters 2.
I also think it made them all effectively immortal, so they could have warred for eternity.
Oh.
Yep.
I feel like that was part of it.
So kind of opposite problem, I guess.
Slightly. But yeah, the idea, like you said, is really quite solid. It just the execution here was wanting.
Yeah, I wasn't ever a big fan of Muse Lady.
I want to know. So she gives him all these souvenirs, right? So and so's pen, somebody's thing. Hemingway's shotgun. Who knows?
Oh God,
Jesus Christ!
So she gives him all this crap, but then she turns into an energy being and floats away.
Subspace.
Is she just
she sends it to subspace. That's all.
Yeah,
probably. Or is she just every time she gets to a new place, she just replicates some fake garbage to
Here's
Or
some
that.
somebody.
paper.
It says made in China on this.
It says made in Curly's fucking replicator on this.
Yeah.
It says made at Quarks.
I liked how Jake's handwriting turned to shit the further the episode got.
I want to know how someone who's never used fucking paper in his life
shit.
has good handwriting to begin with, and also knows cursive.
And knows how to use a fucking fountain pen.
Let's be fair, it wasn't good handwriting.
I mean, I feel like the initial one, the penmanship was pretty okay, but then by the
better
end,
than mine,
he was.
but it's a low bar,
Still, he's like, "Is this paper?" And
how do I hold a pen?
Hold on, let me do some calligraphy on this.
Well, she stimulated the knowing how to hold a pen portion of his body.
That's accurate. Yep. That's what
And she
happened.
was saying that the spots were like the chakra, or like what the Vulcans called, I don't know, some shit. Do you remember?
The hoodly doodlies.
No, that ain't it. Vulcans
I
would
don't
never
remember.
say that. It'd
But
be like
yeah.
Tahoodly spadoodlies.
It's a shame there aren't many Ferengi artists. I feel like she'd do well there.
You would just give them Ulmox.
Yeah, and they'd, she'd never have to leave Ferenginar. They'd be lining up for it knowing full well what the end result would be.
Nice.
Death by Umox.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is
Spongy
spongy
and
and
bruised.
Weak. Oh, bruised, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to talk about the wedding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Because I got very pissed off about all these things about the wedding.
Yod.
Well,
Like-
I can't imagine... Go ahead, Ames, I'm sorry.
Mainly my gripe is, what society would have it in their rules as the husband of the mother instead of just the biological father?
Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing to be in their rules ever, considering they're such a sexist society.
Well, I was gonna...
Well, no,
no, actually, that's exactly why, because they
Yeah.
are the most sexist society.
It's all about property rights.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
exactly.
also-
And I think like it's probably like that to, if there's an extramarital affair or something like that too. Like, what's the situation there?
Well, she doesn't even need to divorce the guy. All she has to do
That's
is get
weird,
married
yeah.
again, and that nullifies the original marriage. And also, as we mentioned, like, the fact that she's having, like, that Lwaxana and Odo are having a Tavnian wedding instead of a Betazoid wedding or just a generic wedding, and that they have to follow all the Tavnian rules, just entirely took me out of this episode.
Well, and also, like, imagine that one of the rules of your wedding is that, like, your ex has to say, oh yeah, they look like they're really in love. Like, no one is ever gonna be like, oh yeah, they seem to really be into each other, I feel like.
the writers wrote themselves into a corner with how to finish off this Lwaxana plot.
I don't know, but the idea they have to have the Tavnian wedding does make sense to me, because if the whole idea is that they're trying to annul a previous Tavnian marriage, it would make sense that they would have to do so within the structure of the Tavnian legal system.
They never established that, and I got very confounded.
That was kind of my assumption too, though.
It's like if you get a divorce, a legal divorce, it doesn't, the Catholic Church doesn't recognize that.
Hmm.
So if you've gotten married in a Catholic church, you're married. I think the Pope can issue divorces, but that's about it.
Yeah, you can get an annulment.
Is that true?
I think, yeah. I think technically if you get a divorce, they can also choose to excommunicate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what the fuck does Lwaxana care about any of that?
I think the issue is that, like, if the Tavnian authorities didn't recognize the legitimacy of her marriage to Odo, then they would back, Kang and say, no, that kid is Kang's, and they'll have an international incident.
Yeah, this just saves a lot of like lawsuits and shit.
She should at least get to be naked.
Well, that's just a function of it was network TV.
They did it before.
Well,
all you gotta do is show it from shoulders up.
I want to see what like Odo would have been. Would he just been a Ken doll in that scenario?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, he doesn't wear clothes. Like, his clothes are part of him.
Yeah.
So I guess he's always sort of naked.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Or he's like a Stretch Armstrong.
Oh God, I have the original design of how the Tavnian wedding chamber was supposed to look. I'll show you guys in a minute, but our listeners won't be able to see. Because originally the idea for the wedding would be that, okay, so groom and bride go into this Tavnian wedding chamber, which just looks like an upright coffin, basically. And you trap them in the box for 16 hours, and then presumably while they're in the box, they bang. And whilst they're like they started building this thing, and the writers are like, we can't figure out how to make this box thing work in the story. We're just going to scrap the box, but thanks for starting on it, guys.
What were they on this episode?
The Muse had gotten to them and was sucking their brains out.
I think the Muse is code for, like, way too much blow.
Lots of quaaludes. Yikes.
Dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Majel was the one who came up to them at, like, the season 3 rap party and said, I got an idea. Lwaxana is pregnant and claims that it's Odo's.
I like what they built from that.
Yeah, as I say, that seems pretty deceitful. I don't see Lwaxana doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not the type to poke holes in condoms, I feel like,
no.
and that's what that feels like.
But,
there was that lovely scene where Odo makes his arm a blanket.
That was cute.
When she fell asleep.
Yeah, I did love all their scenes together. I loved Odo's wedding speech thing, which I originally thought was going to be him delivering about Kira as a way to get around, like, what are my true feelings. But they were actually about Lwaxana.
Yeah, which I think was nice.
It was very nice.
Because at the beginning it was sort of more generic, where you could say maybe, but then it became so specific and so clear.
Yeah.
And I like that Lwaxana told Odo about the daughter that she lost.
Yeah.
And made him kind of understand, like, more of the situation. I don't know.
I
I
hope
don't
we
know.
meet her son in Picard.
Oh, that would
No,
be
I
cool.
don't. But whatever.
I'm really honestly bummed that this is the last time we're gonna see her. I really like
Yeah.
Lwaxana. Like, she
She
was
really grows
super
on you.
annoying in the beginning, and then she had half a life, and
Yeah,
ever
that is-
since then I've been like, I love you, even in that stupid Alexander episode.
That is a huge turning point for the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that, like, in terms of pairings, her and Odo do fit really well together.
Yeah.
You know, she never really gelled, I don't think, with Picard, because it just kind of became like this, like, boys. you
Yeah,
know,
well, the whole point
thing.
just was that he didn't know what to do with her. I feel like with Odo and her, it's more of like an Auntie Mame situation, where at first he doesn't quite know what's going on, but then she actually does start to teach him to kind of embrace life a little more.
Mm.
She's good
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
That's her whole thing. It's
Yeah.
her shtick.
Yeah, and the two of them can kind of be, I want to say broken at each other, but broken isn't quite the word I'm looking for. It can be, no, the word is not coming, but they can show their inner feelings, show their inner
Light.
light. Yeah.
She doesn't have to be on with him,
Yeah.
and he can be more vulnerable.
They're genuine.
Yeah.
Genuine?
Yeah. Which I think is important.
But I was pretty sad for him when she left, because I know, like she said, he probably didn't love her, but he's probably never been that comfortable with any other person. And, you know, he seemed kind of happy for a minute.
Yeah.
Normally,
Yeah, even with Kira, he's not this vulnerable. Vulnerable's the word I'm looking
There
for.
it is, vulnerable. Good one. Yeah.
Yep.
When he even got into that, right? Like, talking about, I never thought anyone would want me for me, and,
Yeah, and she wanted to see more, and it's lovely.
Yeah, I loved that. It is too bad it was paired with such a fucking piece of shit A/B plot. I do think that the Muse was meant to be the A plot, but I think it's so overshadowed by some of the beautiful work happening on the other side that it does get kind of relegated to.
Well, there also just wasn't a lot to the Muse
Yeah.
plot.
That's
It was
true.
like
Well, right, it was the same
like,
scene 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm gonna keep jerking, keep writing. Okay, buddy.
I guess you could argue Lwaxana was Odo's muse when he had to give that speech,
Barf.
Aww.
but that's about all I got.
Oh, you know what else we got to see is more of King Arthur program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
For
I thought-
some
apparently
fucking reason.
I
Kira
thought that was really
continues with
funny because Kira, the first time was objecting to it because she's like, I was playing a married woman.
Maybe they're having her play a different character this time.
Well, I feel like if anybody should be playing Guinevere, it should definitely be Dax because she's always looking for that hollow dick. But I'm
I
also
did-
just surprised to see Hollow Sweet becoming part of Kira's like every day, considering that the first half of the series she was like vehemently anti-hollow deck.
Well, that's how you know she's kind of chilling out a little.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like Dax is pulling her out of her shell a bit.
I also think it was mostly just like, hey, let's have an excuse to slap those two in those idiot costumes again.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, had Dax just finished calisthenics with Worf and was heading on to that, or was she going to go calisthenics after King Arthur?
Both.
There we go.
Like calisthenics around us, around King Arthur's
Maybe-
sandwich.
Maybe Dax accidentally double booked her holodeck time,
Ah,
and they were going to merge the programs.
Yeah, I
Maybe
actually
they're gonna
missed-
have a 3-way. You don't know.
Yeah, I
Could be.
missed what Worf was doing there, other than being depressed, which I started assuming is Lwaxana's depression contagious, like her horniness was?
I think that was sort of the implication.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Worf was definitely in his,
Yeah, he was in his gi.
Yeah.
Mm.
I will say huge credit to Michael Dorn for just the blank, empty, I'm dead inside look on his face.
Do you want to go for a walk?
I would like to. Or how his delivery on that one line was just
It's
hysterical.
like he didn't even blink.
Yeah.
He didn't move a
Mhm.
muscle. He just responded. It was very funny.
Yeah, it was great.
Is that it for this episode? Any more magic facts or thoughts?
One minor little nod that I read about, and that was one of the poets that Onaya says that she rubbed the head of, or whatever she does,
Yikes.
was Tarbold, who was supposed to be the poet who wrote Nightingale Woman, who was quoted by Gary Mitchell in Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
So they dug that out from
Yeah.
storage.
Holy
and
hell.
I'm sure no one would ever get the reference unless you like looked it up or something.
Yeah.
Because I
Wait,
certainly
was that
wouldn't
name
have.
was actually said on screen by Gary Mitchell?
I think he said something to the fact of the guy who wrote Nightingale Woman from this planet. Somehow there is a connection that does exist.
God damn.
Was Gary Mitchell, was he was like the...
He was silver contact lenses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that the same... No, who was the guy that had the telekinesis?
That was Gary
Charlie
Mitchell.
X?
Was it?
Yeah.
Yes, that's who I'm thinking of.
Wait,
Charlie
it was
X.
Charlie X. Yeah,
Okay.
they had ESP. Gary Mitchell had ESP.
Okay, I couldn't remember which was which. I kind of thought I was mixing them up, but I wasn't
they were
sure.
both very, very early TOS.
Yeah.
Gary
God,
Mitchell
every time
was
I think
literally
about
the
those-
second pilot, right?
Yeah, they were even still, some of the actors were still in, like, cage uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I think about those aluminum foil contacts, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
It just makes my eyes hurt. I'm like, no. Speaking of making people hurt, For the Cause.
Good segue, Caitlin.
Jumped right on that sucker. Well, and it works, because Sisko,
Yeah.
gets a little hurted. And I bet Jake is regretting blowing off that trip now. Maybe. Anyway, in For the Cause, gosh, I don't even really remember how we get to this point.
We start
basically,
in bed with Cassidy.
Well, yeah, that's true. And she's like, I have to make a meeting. And Sisko's like, yeah, you got to make a meeting with this dick. And she was like, no, really, I got to go. And so she does. And turns out the Klingons fucked up Cardassia and a lot of their territories way worse than we at first realized. So there's a secret, super secret Starfleet or Federation or whatever, Federation, I guess, plan to give them 12 reclamators.
Replicators.
Was it replicators?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like industrial replicators.
Oh, okay, fine. To which Kira was like, you fuckers only gave Bajor 3, which was literally my response. I'm like, you guys made them fucking fight over them in Bajor. But they were like, no, it's like really extensive. So it's this whole secret thing, and we're gonna make sure that the replicators get there, and it's a top secret, high priority, blah, blah, blah. But while they're having this discussion, or after they're having this discussion, Sisko is approached by Odo and that rat fuck Eddington, who are like,
Totally a changeling.
we've got some concerns. We think there might be a smuggler who's working with the Maquis. And Ben's like, who? And they're like, you're not gonna like it. He's like, come on, who? And they're like, we really don't want to tell you. And he's like, just say it. And they're like, Cassidy. And he's like, what? No, that's dumb. That can't be right. And he kind of abuses his power a little bit. Because they're like, we're going to arrest the fuck out of her. And he's like, just based on your suspicions? So they're like, okay, well, we're going to follow her and prove that she's trading with the Maquis then. And he's like, okay, cool. And before they do this, they try to do a little scanny scan of Cassidy's, cargo. Thank you. Words. Tries to scan Cassidy's cargo, and she's like, I don't have any fucking time for this. I'm gonna call my boyfriend. Ben, tell them to let me go. And Ben's like, I'm an idiot. Let her go. And so she does, and they follow her. And what do you know? She makes a drop to the Maquis in the Badlands, just like they thought. Fuck. So she comes back, and they're like, here's that proof we told you about. And she's going out again tonight. Well, we better follow her. Eddington is like, she could totes die. I don't want this shit on my head. So Sisko's like, okay, I'll drive the Defiant then. So they follow her out again, but this time she's like in a holding pattern for 5 hours. And Sisko is like, wait a minute, they're not here. They wanted me away from the ship. Oh no, she set me up and she knows it. And oh no, Jake is there. And and what do you know? They were taken away or drawn away from Deep Space Nine because Eddington is a fucking Maquis agent, and he was like, fuck the Cardis and the replicators. I was like, literally at the beginning of the episode, Chris can confirm, I was like, don't take it from Eddington, he's just gonna turn traitor again, you idiots. Why do you let him do anything?
He's still clearly a changeling. Come on, guys.
Dude just loves turning coat.
But so anyway,
almost as much as Garak. Hey.
Ayo. Oh, yeah, that's the B plot. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot all about that. So Sisko turns around and rushes home, and they're able to catch Eddington, and Cassidy's kind of welcome to go her own way, but she shows up and is like, I don't want to let this go. And he's like, me either. And he's like, okay, but you're going to prison now. And he calls security, and she's like, wait for me. And he's like, yeah, we'll see. So that's basically that, but I was so bummed. At the beginning, I was like, fuck. I was like, no. When they were like trying to break it to him, I was like, Cassidy's bad, isn't she? God damn it. I was really upset.
And they were right, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I know. Well, especially since we know that Eddington, like, orchestrated everything. It could have just been a big fucking lie thing that she maybe didn't know, or...
Yeah,
I was
instead,
hoping
he totally blew her cover.
I was hoping somebody was getting blackmailed. Like, I was like, please don't let Cassidy be... But also, I don't... We can get into whether or not her providing supplies to people that need them is bad. But the B plot is that for someone who is so into to Julian, Garak seems to have a weird reptilian boner thing for Ziyal, and Ziyal like seems to be into it, and Garak is kind of like, does she want to fuck me or kill me? I can't really tell. I am her father's sworn enemy, and she's like, wanna hit the sauna? And he's like, wanna sauna? Don't you wanna sauna? Yeah, that's right. Hive mind. Anyway,
love it.
So they decide they're gonna go have this like date thing. Is it a date? Is it not a date? Garak doesn't really know. Who does he talk to? Quark?
Yeah.
Quark's like, it's a fucking date. You're a man. She's a woman. It's a date. Gross. So Kira shows up while Quark is snarking at Garak about his cuffs and collars. And Kira's like, listen, Ziyal's my friend and I will fucking end you if you fuck with her. And Garak's like, no, I wouldn't. It's all good. So then they get to, it's sauna day, and Garak is still suspicious, and he's being really awkward, like a virgin on his first date, and like standing in the corner and shit. And he's like, what is this? And she's like, it's a fucking sauna. Why don't you just chill on the rocks? I don't really want to kill you. You're the only one like me here, and I'm the only one like you here, and therefore we should probably be friends. And if you don't want to be, that's fine, but like, want to sit on some rocks and tell me about home? And he's like, okay.
Won't need this gun.
Yeah, throws the gun away.
Yeah.
And they chit-chat, and they're friends now. The end.
How does Garak have a gun? Aren't there those sensors that don't allow you to have a gun?
You don't think Garak could get a gun through the
Fair.
sensors?
Okay, entirely fair.
I do like that they just are literally basking on rocks.
Yep.
They're lizards. It's great.
No, I know, but it's just funny for them to take it to that logical endpoint.
No, I like that. That was good. I don't care for the new Ziyal. I'll say it right off the bat. This is our second of 3 Ziyals. I thought she was weaker than the first one, because, I mentioned to Jake as we're watching, like, the last we saw the first Ziyal, Kira was teaching her knife play. This girl shows up, and I don't know, she had all these, she read so, like, Shakespeareanly, that's not a word, it is now. She read in this very theatrically way when she does that final monologue at him about, I don't know anything about Cardassian, I'm not welcome there because I got these nose bumps, boo. She just read it like she was like Juliet on her deathbed.
So she's learning knife play from Kira and acting from Sisko.
Ugh. No, I thought she was, I don't know, she just didn't have the agency that she had in original episodes.
Yeah, she definitely seemed more like the helpless girl trope.
Almost like submissive, like just very quiet and head naughty. Just kind of made me think of like one of the handmaids from The Handmaid's Tale, almost like very head down, very...
Yeah, like it's like they were going for, you're interesting to me because you can tell me about the home I never knew, but they kind of over-egged the pudding. And she wound up, like you said, as this sort of weird damsel-y figure.
Yeah, but that could
really
also
weird.
be, that could be some sort of Cardassian hoarding behavior, some kind of, you have to act demure as a woman to attract a mate or something.
No, we saw Gilora Rajal, who was into O'Brien, that chick, and they were just dicks to each other, and it got her off.
Well, that's true.
That's right. Cardassian courting is a sitcom. I forgot.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, so
I
that's
actually
true.
also remembered something like that, but then I thought maybe I was thinking of Klingons.
Yeah, because we'll see more of Ziyal, but not more as this actress. There's a third one who I think is like the the Ziyal we see the most of, so it's the one that's kind of like the
Yeah,
the typical.
I think she's
Ziyal.
the season 5 Ziyal is our
The platonic Ziyal ideal.
yes.
I don't remember this whole thread with Garak, and I'm just like, the age gap is weird. Can they just be friends? I don't need them
Do
to
we
be...
really know how old Garak is?
I mean, he's at least as old as Dukat, if not older.
Yeah, he was in the Obsidian Order. I'm sure he's got tons of experience under his belt.
Well,
So-
I don't know though, right? Because Tain so we have Enabran Tain, who was his
Love him.
mentor, and he's not that much older. Or I mean, he doesn't look a lot older than Dukat Tain to me.
Yeah,
Maybe
like,
that's just because of the makeup.
I imagine... I've always been under the impression, at least, that Dukat and Garak are contemporaries.
That would make sense.
See,
But also because the two
I could
actors are
also buy
contemporaries.
that like I've always been of that assumption too, but I could also buy that Garak is younger.
Mm. Yeah, I guess I'll admit that part of my expectation is based partly on knowing the actor is older as well.
Oh yeah, I always forget that because he doesn't look it under the makeup.
Yeah, you can't really tell, but yeah, he was...
Well,
Gosh, he was the bad guy in the original Dirty Harry.
Well, what I was saying when we talked about this a little bit last night was I don't know if we know like what a lifespan is on a Cardassian.
True.
So I feel like if a Cardassian could theoretically live to be 500 years old, if he's 40 and she's 20, like yeah, if you're a human, that can be a little but if you're going to live for another 400 years, no big. I don't know.
Like the
Sure.
Vulcans lived to 200, and how many fucking wives has Sarek had?
Well, at least 2.
Well, if, he didn't have the human fever, he would have had one.
The human fever. Yikes.
Well, and like Savick, I mean, talk about May, December there. I mean, how old was
Yikes.
Spock? 4 days?
Ugh, God. Doesn't happen.
Sounds
Doesn't
like a
count.
Neelix and what's her name.
Movie didn't happen.
The movie is so bad.
Mm.
Yeah, but we do have, like, the best Garak stuff is him and Quark.
Yeah.
Because you put the two together, and then the sass meter just explodes, and I love them so much.
Yeah, that scene in his shop was great.
I think there was a mistake in one of the lines, though, that no one caught.
What was the line?
He says the pants are a meter too long, and it's like, a meter? That's practically a yard.
That's more than a yard. I picked that up, but I was like, oh, is he just being hyperbolic here?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you know,
that's
these
what it
pants
was.
are outrageously long.
I did like that it did sort of seem like a slightly unfinished coat, like it was a little too big for him.
Yeah.
Listen, it was what they had in the stockroom for some reason.
I
had to make
still
it look
don't
like Garak had
understand
to
why
do
you
something.
need
Yeah.
a tailor. Like I could see needing like a fashion designer, and I'd buy it if that's what Garak did. But the fact that he's like sewing garments just seems ridiculous.
And
think
and the
it
fashion
would be-
design.
It would be like owning an Aston Martin. You don't have to make a car by hand. It's a status symbol. That's what
Yeah,
I
but-
think.
But then again, I feel like for that you would you would have a tailor shop in, a really high-end place, not this backwater.
What's Quark gonna do? Leave to get some suits made and leave fucking... He doesn't even have Rom anymore to leave in charge. That's absolutely not gonna happen. He has to be able to do it before the bar opens at 11 or whatever.
True.
And if he's the only tailor in the place, that does make him the best tailor in the place.
Yeah, no, I guess my thing is just more that like why does a tailor exist?
Yeah,
under
like
Yeah.
a fashion designer in the future is a programmer. They make a program and they create their fashion in the program and then print it out.
Well, I can imagine it wouldn't be much different than like using, Photoshop or something, some kind of, you draw what you want the garment to look like and you input the client's parameters,
Well, not everybody
Measurements.
has replicators either. Like, they'd probably have shitloads of people making clothes on Bajor.
You know who does have replicators? The Maquis.
12 of them now.
Nice segue, Jake.
It was good.
12 industrial replicators.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, right? Because, like, we have Eddington's final betrayal until we find out, that
You
he's
don't
like
know.
a secret undercover agent infiltrating the Maquis.
Sisko might still take him back.
And in
Sisko's
the
got a
industrial
soft spot.
replicators, they'll make anything. They'll just make it 3 centimeters smaller than you specify.
What?
The industrial replicators, they're sabotaged. So if you want to get it to make you clothes, they'd be slightly too small.
So we had Eddington, man, when he drops the facade, he drops it hard. He had a speech ready. He been practicing that motherfucker in front of a mirror.
They caught him monologuing.
Yeah.
Yeah, after his fake out when who asks him, is it O'Brien, that fool?
What he thinks about, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of the Maquis? I don't think anything. Suspicious.
If I'm told
You're totally a changeling.
If I'm told to arrest them, I arrest them. If I'm told to help them, I help them.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Eddington turned out to be a changeling. Because this is the exact kind of shit I could see the changelings doing, right? Is undermining the Federation by supplying their enemies.
Yeah, screwing Cassidy Yates over just to make sure he gets those replicators. Now I'm doing it. Jesus Christ.
That is kind of that does suck, It's like, all right, we got this woman who's not technically a Maquis. She just smuggles stuff for us. We're gonna throw her to the wolves.
Yeah.
For this larger operation.
I've done that. It reminds me of a time I was playing Mafia, and I almost never got to be the hitman, or whatever the murderer is called in that game. And my co-hitman was the worst liar in the world. Like, she could not lie, and her boyfriend was there and can tell when she's lying.
I don't remember us playing this together.
So on the very first night, everyone points at her and says she's definitely in the Mafia. And I'm like, oh yeah, she totally is. Kill her off now.
Nice.
Because then they didn't suspect me.
Yes.
And she would have just taken me down, so fuck her. And I won that game, damn it.
Nice.
But Eddington.
So watching Eddington this episode, and then watching Sisko get all paranoid, it gave me like the biggest Othello vibes. And I was like, oh my god. Sisko's Othello to Eddington's Iago would make for an amazing performance.
Yeah.
Also, because Iago is like my favorite Shakespeare character, and I'm someone who doesn't like Shakespeare, so that would make a good show.
Yeah.
So, every time someone on the show starts criticizing the Federation, as Eddington did in his final
Gene
speech,
Roddenberry rolls in his grave.
Well, no. Every time I find someone does that, I find myself going, "Yeah, he's got a point."
Yeah.
I literally turned to Chris and was like, shit, Eddington's spilling the tea.
He says to Sisko, nobody leaves paradise. Nobody puts up a parking lot.
And like, what's interesting is Sisko doesn't really have a retort other than, you broke the fucking rules.
Yeah, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Like, You betrayed me personally, and for that I will scour the galaxy to get my revenge.
Yes, which was like, whoa. Wow.
Well, that's mostly because he fucked over his girlfriend, and now he can't have nice things. I mean,
yeah.
Not so much about Eddington specifically at that point.
But he said, you people can't imagine anyone wanting to leave.
I mean, I don't know how true that is, because, I mean, it seems like the Maquis... Eddington's like, oh, the Maquis, we're peaceful. We just have our problem is with Cardassia. And it's like, yeah, but like
that might be an oversimplification as well.
Yeah, there's been some thefts and shit.
Yeah,
so.
But
why shouldn't Cardassia get some of what they dealt out, though?
No, that's fair.
I'm willing to go Old Testament eye for an eye on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like if you had a country. And you had some terrorists call them, or freedom fighters, somebody might call them, I don't know. You had people in your country that lived in your country that were going into the neighboring country and doing terrorist-y shit. It could very well be that, the country that's being attacked could have a problem with the country that's harboring the assholes.
Right, no, that's true.
That's just it, though.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, but it was my impression that the Maquis don't have a home country.
Yeah, no, they officially live in the DMZ or whatever.
Yeah.
Badlands.
But I think the idea, though, is that Cardassia is like, these are your people. They're living in there illegally. They're attacking our shit. So get them out of there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other problem, of course, that, and I know we talked about this since TNG, but all the dealings with the Cardassians over all of this have just been done in bad faith the whole time.
Oh, and
it's kind of funny to see that even with this new civilian government, like, they're still leaving it to the Federation to fix this, when again, it's really not their responsibility. You know, it's more like if a group of terrorists, like, left a country, set up camp in international waters, and was attacking another one, and them going to the other country and be like, hey, deal with this. It's like, they're literally not our citizens anymore. They burnt their passports.
They took off their comm badges.
Yeah.
They're out.
That's how you know it's real, man.
I know,
when
man. When
Eddington-
Eddington stuck that to the wall, I was like, oh, shit's on now.
It's real now. Yep.
That was a real declaration. That's not even just throwing it away. That's sticking it up where everyone can see.
Sticking it to the man.
Yeah.
Metaphorically.
Yeah.
And then pissing on it.
Do you
Yeah.
think when you stick,
Metaphorically.
do you think when you stick your comm badge to, like, the wall of the station, and then somebody goes, you know, locate Commander Eddington, do you think the computer says, Commander Eddington is the station?
Commander Eddington is in the walls.
Ah! They try to beam the station to itself. Big, just like a chunk of space inverts.
Oh no.
Big space, subspace inversion asshole
Like
thing.
that kid that went over the bars
Yeah,
on
Inside
the
Out Boy.
swing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, it was an old Nickelodeon short.
It was like a stop motion thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he went
Let's
over the
get
bars.
Inside Out Boy.
Yeah,
You know,
gross.
Inside Out Boy. He goes over the swing, the bar. Like the thing is, if you go over the bar on the swings, your entire body turns inside out, and all your organs are on the outside.
That's
Yeah.
gross.
It wasn't. It was strangely not gross. It's hard to explain. If you don't know what it is, it's hard to explain.
I don't remember it, but are we talking like really early Nickelodeon?
In like mid '90s, probably.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't even remember what the story is, but I assume it was like edutainment, and he teach you about the liver and shit by going, see this blob here? That's my
Yeah.
liver.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, neither
all I
do
remember is going over the thing, and I remember the stop motion.
Yeah, it was like, like very 2D.
Oh,
played-
yes, I remember him.
Yeah. Fucking nightmarish in
1989, by the way.
retrospect. Wow, that early.
Oh,
And he
Shit.
had 5 shorts.
Ooh. Gonna have to find them and put them on the Facebook.
mm-hmm. Cassidy.
Cassidy, yeah. I think it's in her
Cassidy.
character. I think it's actually pretty in her character to want to help the Maquis.
Well, I also like how they kind of try to get her off the hook by being like, it's medical supplies.
Mm.
It's not
It's
like
not
it's
like it's weapons.
Yeah.
Shut up,
Like, yeah, but-
Jadzia.
But you being the patsy and, you know, luring Sisko away from the station allowed the Maquis to steal a bunch of actual important shit.
Well, yeah, but I feel like she was being honest when she said she didn't know that was what was.
Oh,
Happened.
sure. No. I mean, she was definitely being played by Eddington, but
Yeah.
Mm.
or
that-
you know, the other Maquis, whoever gave her orders. I'm sure she didn't know it was Eddington, or maybe she did. We don't know.
I feel like if she knew it was Eddington, she would have to tell Sisko. Because if she knew it was Eddington and didn't tell Sisko, then that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
True.
I don't feel like there's any way she knew it was Eddington. Because also
Yeah.
Eddington plays this like so very smart.
Yeah.
And he hides his tracks until like the last fucking moment when they realize, oh god, he was a changeling all the time. I mean, he was a turncoat all the time.
Yeah. And I'm 100% sure, you know, he goes to Sisko with Odo to do this whole thing about, oh, we think Cassidy might be a Maquis agent. But you know it was Eddington that went to Odo and was like, hey,
Check out
we
these
should
logs.
check out Cassidy Yates's shit because I've been doing some checking here.
Yeah, I liked that there was another very small nod to a past TOS episode when they say that she's going to go meet the Tholians.
Mm.
And the Tholians are famously punctual. And I'm like, oh my god, that's exactly what Spock said in the Tholian web. It's like very, very nice little touch. And I'm going to go to, and it made me think, because I've been watching the lower decks. Ugh, God. And the thing that everyone on the internet is all like, oh my god, we're just fan wanking all over the place because they make so many references. They make like 12 references per minute to old
that-
TOS episodes.
Yeah, it's too many.
And I'm like,
It's
yeah,
also-
no, this is how you do a nice nod.
You know, it's also the same type of shit, not to do a fucking Lower Decks hate moment, but
by this episode, I think the Lower Decks season 1 is over by the time this goes out.
but
so
like
rant away.
I find that the constant references are
Name dropping.
Yeah, I mean it's very fan servicey.
Wank, 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 wank.
And
They said Riker. Ah!
and just like some of them are just so out of place too. It's like we'll just name drop a thing that you'll have heard of if you watch Star Trek for no reason.
Yeah, and like literally 15 times in a row. But we'll cover those in a couple of years, and Jake will have quit the podcast by then.
No. Jake, never leave us.
Yeah.
Jake is already gone.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So I don't know. I like
Eddington.
that they did this to Cassidy,
Oh,
the
yeah.
writers.
No,
You
it
know,
ups the
because
stakes. I like it.
that like it adds some depth to her character. That you know, like she was already a pretty decent character as it was, but this kind of adds that element of conflictedness to her.
Yeah, and to Sisko too.
And
Sisko
especially
let
for
himself
Sisko.
trust.
Yep.
Oof.
You know, his scene with Jake in this episode where he's like, it's
Yeah.
gonna be okay. It's just, you know, no matter what happens, it's me and you. It's like, holy shit. He's really
Watch
having a
baseball
crisis
in the
right
holodeck.
now.
I did look up the 1968.
Yankees.
No, what was 61
Red Sox.
Yankees and 78 Red Sox?
Yes.
Who would have won, Chris?
Oh God, the Yankees. Because I looked up the both rosters. I started with the Red Sox, and they had like Yastrzemski and
God
one or two
damn
other
it.
people that
We're talking about baseball again.
even
God damn it! And Batman too.
I was
Fuck
gonna say,
this
was
episode.
Batman
I
on the
there's
Red
Bat
Sox at
Boys.
that time?
Bat Boys at
purposely-
baseball.
I purposely did not talk about Ansara's work on Batman. So
Thank you, Chris, because
You're
you
welcome.
have before. So
exactly.
Go
but,
on, though. 68,
But
71.
yeah, the 78 Red Sox had like Yastrzemski and Jerry Rice and a few other guys that like even someone like me who doesn't really know sports knew their names. So I was like,
No
okay,
ideas.
that's a good roster. But then like the 61 Yankees still had Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra, and I was like, oh yeah, no, of
Yeah.
course they fucking won. Like
How did the let's see, what's 1978 Red Sox, did they
What are
say
we
what their
doing?
record was? Like, did
Yeah,
they
I like-
do
I
well
look-
that the question is, did they do well that year?
I think they did. I feel like I looked them up and it was
Yeah, I'm sort of surprised you went by roster and not stats, because stats is probably how I'd have gone.
yeah, but I don't understand baseball stats. But I'm just like, if I've heard of any of the players, that's probably a good thing.
Well, no, but surely if someone had 70 wins and someone had 30, you would think, huh?
I mean, again, for me, it was just like the Yankees still had.
Is that a
Mickey
reasonable
Mantle, so-
number of wins?
I don't-
70? Do they play like 100 games?
They
I
play
think
an
it's a
absurd
lot.
amount
It's
of
a lot
They
games.
of
play
in
like
baseball.
2 games a day because you don't get tired playing baseball. But that's besides the
It's
point.
not a real sport. No, I'm
Plus it's-
kidding. I'm
plus
kidding.
It's the most boring fucking shit. Are you done reading, Jake? Can I move on to another thing?
No, they went 99 and 64. They were second in the East, so they did
Okay.
okay.
Great.
Who?
Speaking
Sox
of-
or the Yankees?
The Sox.
Speaking of
78.
sports, we get to see spring ball.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
Which looks
about
much
that.
better than baseball.
It looks like really violent.
Ping
Handball.
pong.
No, the one
Racquetball?
Julian. Yeah.
I thought it was racquetball originally. 'cause
So
it
did
looks
I.
Very
It
similar,
was-
and I was like, why don't they wear masks in racquetball?
Yeah, until they started like actively like hitting each other, I was like, oh wait, this is probably spring ball.
No, that's just how Kira plays racquetball.
Yeah.
This is how we used to play it back when I was a terrorist.
Bet the Bajorans would love highlight.
Mm.
Hmm.
But what about Parisi squares?
Nah.
I think if I had anything else. Probably not.
Yeah, I actually did read the impetus for this episode was apparently the Oklahoma City bombing had happened recently.
Oh.
And the writer was very, I'm gonna say intrigued, but it's probably also more horrified when you see that all the people were suspicious that it was a Middle Easterner who did it, and then when they learned like, no, it was this white guy.
Yep.
Like we didn't expect it to be that because we're so prejudiced that we just assume it's gonna be someone brown. And this episode, they decided like, okay, let's go. That you jumped to the conclusion that it's we led down the wrong trail. There's no way it was going to be Eddington. Eddington's the surprise factor. Eddington's McVeigh.
I knew it was Eddington, goddammit, from the beginning. Literally was like, he's up to something.
I mean,
He's
I
always
think
up to something.
Because
think-
he and Odo hate each other. Why would they work together? I'm just saying, I'm
I
just
would have
saying.
been more surprised if they hadn't previously gone through such lengths to make us dislike Eddington
Mm.
in this show, by having him, in one of his first appearances. Maybe it was his first appearance.
Oh yeah, taking Odo's job.
He took Odo's job.
Taking orders from that admiral, though.
Yeah, this is like his
shutting
third saboteur strike.
sabotaging the Defiant.
He didn't do any sabotaging in the adversary.
No, that's true.
Well, he can't be bad every time he shows up. Then you just really expect it.
Yeah.
But that was the thing,
I wish
they
had made him more of a likable character, and then I would have been like, oh my god.
Somebody like good old Chief Argyle. You know?
And then again, I guess that's just kind of a repeat of Ro Laren's arc, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, I think in a way he still works because you're like, well, of course he's not going to turn out to be crooked because it's too obvious. And also, again, the first time he betrays Ben, it's not a betrayal in the sense that, he's turned him over to an enemy. It's someone higher up in Starfleet gave him a contradicting order.
Yeah, so he's almost too, he's too
much of a company man.
Yeah, exactly.
So in a way that makes it more of a surprise that this guy who seems to just be dyed-in-the-wool Starfleet is actually Maquis.
Dyed in the wolf?
Wool.
Oh, okay.
So here's
Also
the tinfoil hat.
Wolf in the fold Starfleet.
Let me put on my tinfoil hat real quick
Yeah,
here.
you look great in that hat, Jake.
Crinkle, crinkle.
Eddington was a company man, but he was eventually turned
Into a changeling.
he was recruited into the Maquis by one of the Maquis' top agents, Cassidy Yates.
My God! That's the crinkliest hat and it's magnificent.
And that this whole thing was actually Cassidy's plan from the start.
Double blind.
Because here's the thing, right? How fucking coincidental and convenient is it that the one person that would get Sisko off the station...
Or just get him off.
Yeah.
No, wait, here's a much crinklier hat. It's Jake Sisko, and that's why Jake hooked up his dad with Cassidy in the first place.
What?
Yeah.
Don't we know that he's been writing books about being smugglers and terrorists and shit?
Gypsies, tramps, and thieves.
Now that would be a plot twist if Jake ended up becoming a Maquis.
Maybe that's what Mirror Jake is.
No,
Mirror
Mirror
Jake
Jake
doesn't
doesn't
exist.
exist.
I know, but maybe someday he will.
Well,
he literally
will
can't.
because
He's dead.
no, because literally everybody in our universe exists in the mirror universe.
No, Caitlin
so somehow
is
he
fully
does
grasping.
exist.
Caitlin is fully grasping how the mirror universe makes no sense. Therefore, you can do whatever you want.
Maybe
he actually just grows from some spores, I think. And
Yeah.
Kelvin Jake is Maquis. There we go.
All right, here's a new mirror universe theory.
Yeah, I'm here for this.
you put the second hat on
every
top
time
of your...
there's every time somebody crosses over, they're not crossing over into the exact same universe. They're crossing over into the universe that forked and reached, the specific state that it was at the point that you convert over.
So it's like parallels.
It's more like parallels. Like we assume there's just two universes because every time we go there, it's the same people. But maybe it is more like parallels where there's unlimited numbers of parallel universes, mirror universes, and they all have something in common, which is shit went bad. They share some common history.
I'm willing to buy that. Because we
know.
already know
This
loads of
goddamn
different
stretch.
universes exist.
But man, yeah, no, I like my Cassidy as the mastermind idea.
I do
That
too.
is good. I do like that.
She is great, and I really love.
But she
what's her
fell
name?
for.
Penny
She actually
Johnson.
ended up falling for Benjamin Sisko. In
Or
the
is it a
end.
front?
It's like Casino
Ooh.
Royale.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Then she's going to forcibly drown herself. Yikes.
Headcanon
Whoa.
accepted.
Anything else?
I don't have too much else.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining us for episode 191 of
Ow, ow.
Star to Steer Her By, Star Trek Podcast. If you like what you heard and you'd like to hear more, you can find us where all fine podcasts are sold. We are on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play or maybe YouTube Music, I don't know by now, and Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Facebook by searching for A Star to Steer Her By. We are also SSHB Podcast on Twitter and Tumblr. You can visit our website at sshbpodcast.com, which, you know, someday might be a real website. For now, it just points you to our Tumblr, where you can read really neat things like our recent fan fictions.
Oh, they were great.
Our season reviews, and, you know, articles that get written sometimes.
We do have another end of season coming up soon.
We do. I was going to say, like, we're toward the end of season 4 now.
Crazy.
It
A
is
good
wild.
season.
Yeah.
It is good. Not to shamelessly plug, but Chris and I recently visited our friends over at the Mad Max Minute podcast. They are currently presenting Waterworld, H2O
That's not
minutes
Mad Max.
at a time. No, it's water. Well, it fits though thematically because it's also
That's true.
like
It's pretty apocalyptic.
yeah, it's great actually. It's funny because I had never seen it before, and you know, generally speaking, it gets a horrible rap. But we watched the 3-hour Ulysses cut, and I was thoroughly fucking entertained.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Word.
I wouldn't go out so far as to say that it's like a great movie. Like, I think it is, but I will say that it is entertaining as hell, and if you like a little post-apocalyptic business, it's good. But yeah, we were on an episode, which I think is going live in like mid-October, did they say?
That's
I think
roughly when this episode's going live.
Yeah,
so.
it's either going up around the same time as this or a week or two later. I think they may have said late October.
I thought they said October like 12th or something.
Did they?
Well, let me put it this way. They're on episode 7, and I think we were episode 12.
Okay.
So, mid-October.
Are they once a week, or?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
They used to do so for the Mad Max films, I think they were doing 3 episodes a week of 1 minute chunks. So that's the thing about that podcast, is they go through the movie 2 minutes at a time. So this, 3-hour-ish cut will be,
Oh my
almost
God.
2 years or something.
Years
yeah.
of work.
But yeah, it was super fun. We're really grateful to Rick and Julia for having us, so go check them out. They're really enjoyable. Their listenership is almost certainly already grander than ours, but whatever. Give them a couple more.
Did you plug our show on their show?
We did.
Shit!
Yeah.
I knew I forgot something.
We did, didn't we?
Yes, I'm kidding.
I was like, wait a second. I'm blonde under all this dye, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I think that's all the not flagellating. It's all that in it. It's all the
Plugging?
yeah. Oh no, self-plugging. Anyway, that's all I got there. But yeah, we'll be back next week with 2 more episodes of Deep Space Nine. As always, I have been Caitlin.
I have been Jake.
This has been Chris.
And this is always Ames.
No rule of acquisition again this week.
Awkward silence.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Yeah.
Ah.
Are we insane? What are we doing? How did we get here?